Hi everybody, I'm Ghost Note. In this video, I'm just going to go over the passive tree changes coming in 3.6 Synthesis League. Just kind of briefly highlight the nodes. There's a lot of them, and they're easy to miss, some of them, so I figure a kind of comprehensive review, which I hope this will be, of them should be good. I'm not going to comment too much on them. I might comment on a few of the more powerful ones, but I mostly just want to show where they are, what they do, etc., etc. So let's get to it. Starting over here in the shadow, they've added this new little path here. It used to be sniper and nullification. Anyway, they changed this so that it still has some projectile speed, but now it also has AoE and increased damage. And it's kind of a little smoother, more sleek to go through. These little nodes have the same type of deal. And then the other side, which used to be like an ES and evasion node, is still that, but it's also got some life regen and it's got some max res on the little nodes. So it's just, the pathing's a little bit better there. And then Mind Drinker just had a little bit of mana regen added to it, not a big deal. This evasion energy shield path is kind of new, and in the middle of it is the notable Soul Thief, which gives you the evasion and max ES, but it also gives you 0.3% of spell damage leeches life, or energy shield, sorry. So used to saying that. Leeches energy shield, which is the new thing they've added this league. Then we come up here, and this is the first of the new kind of weapon spell nodes. So this is shield spell damage. So this is spell damage while wielding a shield. On one path, it's got more spell damage while holding a shield and chance to block attack damage. Down here, it's just got cast speed. And the notable gives you cast speed, spell damage per 5% chance to block attack damage, which you're probably going to have above 30 if you're taking any of this node. So it's a 30% spell damage node probably on average, which is pretty good. It's got 20% chance to avoid ailments and 20% chance to avoid being stunned while holding a shield. So pretty decent. Chances are you're going to have immunity to at least one of those in some of your builds, but still not too bad. And the 30% on average spell damage alone is probably worth taking these 3 points as it is. Come up here, Hexmaster. The reason I'm highlighting these didn't really change per se, but they changed the wording on them because Bane is a thing now. They changed it from instead of just of your curses to of your curse skills. So like these things here, like curse skills, it used to be, say your curses have increased skill effect duration. Now it's curse skills because Bane is a curse skill, even though it's not a curse. And so these nodes affect Bane, which is actually really powerful. So the notable now has 40% increased area of effect of curse skills. So that's 40% increased area for Bane. Crazy. Increased effect of your curses. That's curses exactly. It's not increased curse effect of Bane because that specifically says curses. And curse skills have 80% increased skill effect duration. Again, 80% more effect for Bane. Crazy stuff. We'll come up here first, and I think I'll jet down in here real quick. Actually, let's just do this little section right here now. I highlighted all this. This is something I did to make sure I didn't miss any of them. This fire damage and cold damage cluster had some multiplier attached to the fire part, some crit chance with cold skills attached to the cold part, and then Snowforged also had plus 10 fire and cold resistances added to it. So, it's okay. It's a little buff. It's not bad. Nimbleness used to just be movement speed and cast speed. It got crit multi attached to it. It had the stun interruption, or avoiding interruption from stun story. But this got added, critical strike added on the small nodes, and multiplier added onto the multi. Lucidity's... let's do this one first. Let's go to this. This is a new energy shield leech mechanic. Oh, I should probably go over here too. I'll do that in a second. Forgot about that. It changed a little bit. But this is just all energy shield leech. You can either get go the small route and get just a bunch of leech, or you can go the large route and get increased recovery on your leech instances. And then the notable gives, again, more maximum total recovery from your energy shield leech, some extra cast speed and attack speed while leeching, which is nice, and again, more spell damage leached as energy shield, really good. Ghost Reaver I just wanted to highlight because now it has the line maximum total recovery per second from energy shield leech is doubled, so that doubles your leech recovery rate, which is good, in addition to its other effects. Lucidity has... Yeah, it's a channeling thing. Sorry, I blanked out there for a second. Has 14% increased damage of channeled skills, attack and cast speed, and then the big node has a chance to avoid being stunned while channeling, which is nice. They deal 30% increased damage and have -3 to total mana cost, which is good too, because channeling skills are already pretty cheap. So if you lower them even more, it makes them quite good. Or it's a nice quality of life anyway. Let's come up here next. We'll go to Arcane Expanse, another new node. So it's just spell damage and spell area of effect. So 5% AoE on the little nodes, nothing big, but some spell damage too. And then on the big node, you've got spell damage, AoE if you killed recently, 10%, and then just 10% regularly, and then 10 intelligence for some reason. I'm not sure why, but there it is. So yeah, that's a pretty good node. For 3 points, that's pretty solid. Static blows. This cluster changed some. It's just got effective shock and chance to shock, stuff like that. Critical strike against shocked enemies. Damage if you shocked an enemy recently. And then static blows itself has shock duration. Crit chance against shocked enemies is the big change here, and increased damage if you shocked an enemy. So this is pretty good for shock if you're really going hard into shock, like say with an elementalist. We'll go up here first. Heart of Ice. Nothing really changed other than it now leeches 2% or 0.2% of cold damage as energy shield. All of these things get the same thing. I might as well just highlight them all. Heart of Flame and Heart of Thunder get the same treatment, just for fire and lightning, respectively. Mysticism. You've got this is a dual wield casting node, similar to the shield node that I pointed out before. You've got some spell damage, attack and cast speed, block on dual wield if that's a thing you like to do. I don't know why. Attack and cast speed, attack and cast speed. This side it's got more block and spell damage while dual wielding, and then mysticism has again more block, spell damage while dual wielding, and then chances to gain a frenzy charge or a power charge when you block attack damage or spell damage. Maybe, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's gonna be pretty unreliable. I don't know how I feel about this node. It's okay, but dual wielding is not often the way to go with spellcasting. It is sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. It's just okay. It's a little wonky, and the block thing is going to be unreliable. Enigmatic Defect. Speaking of unreliable block, staves are a little more reliable with block, but still, this is a staff one, so you get spell damage. Here you can get spell damage and chaos res. If you're going to take this, I would go this way. Here you get 5% chance to block spell damage while wielding a staff, 5% chance to block attack damage while wielding a staff, and 15% increased spell damage while wielding a staff. Not terrible stuff. And then 10% chance to gain Unholy Might on block for 3 seconds. If somehow, for some reason, staff melee becomes a thing next league, this might be okay. Probably not, because it's still only 10% chance, and it still relies on unreliable block, which is hard to cap with staves, so probably not. Never mind. Ignore that. I was just kind of thinking ahead there and thinking why, but really it's just kind of Arcane Guarding. This is another shield one, so you've got spell damage while holding a shield, spell damage while holding a shield, chance to block spell damage while holding a shield on both of those. On this one, you've got block, recovery, spell damage, and increased energy shield from your equipped shield, and then this has 60% increased energy from your equipped shield, Arcane Guarding itself. So that's 100% increased energy shield from your shield. If you get a pretty beefy one, that's substantial. 6% chance to block spell damage while holding a shield, increased spell damage while holding a shield, and 20% increased spell damage if you've blocked recently. So that's going to be up sometimes. You're probably going to have 20%-ish block if you've got any of these things. So maybe. I personally don't really care for it. Block's not a really strong mechanic right now, so, but it's there. Lightning Walker, Frost Walker, and Fire Walker just all had their damage increased, and also gained cast speed with their respective elements. Mental Rapidity, you've got it increased in cast speed just a little bit. They went from 3 to 4, so you've got 4, 4, and 8. And I'm not sure if the energy shield recovery rate was there before. Recharge rate, I don't think it was, so that's a little extra buff. I just want to check on nimbleness. Yeah, it's still 336. I thought so. Okay. Come up here. Again, this is another curse skills thing. So it's now curse skills have 15% increased skill effect duration. And cast speed, again, affects Bane. Bane's good. Staff critical strike chance. These got changed, so they're just sort of like their own kind of generic crit type of deal. There's just crit and crit multi. This was kind of all here before, but it shared stuff with blunt trauma, which is more melee oriented. So you've got attack speed and physical damage and stuff like that. Accuracy knocks back enemies if you get a crit strike with a staff. So it's just moved down to a more appropriate place melee wise, and it's kind of made this node a little cleaner and easier to use. It is 4 points now, whereas before you usually only took 3, but it's probably a little bit better. Let's see, we've got Dark Arts. This is another dual wielding one. So you've got cast speed, movement speed, spell damage while dual wielding, spell damage while dual wielding, movement speed. Over here, you've got cast speed and cooldown recovery movement skills. This is kind of good, actually. I kind of like this. This is nice for like flame dash, stuff like that. And then 5% increased cast speed while dual wielding, 10% increased attack and cast speed if you've used a movement skill recently, 30% increased mana regen if you've used a movement skill recently, and 10 to dex and intelligence. This is a pretty good cluster. I like this. It's hard to get to and hard to justify sometimes, but it is a good cluster. Fire damage. Oh yeah, this changed. I shouldn't have highlighted this. This is really the only thing that changed here. It also has fire spells have 10% of fizz damage converted to fire. That's mainly for the new holy spells where half of it's converted to fire. You can convert a little bit more. It's not really that great. I would just go up and grab Avatar Fire and fully convert it, to be honest, but it is up to you. Did blunt trauma. We'll do these and then we'll go down and do the... Well, actually, I'll just go down here really quick. This is just more curse effect and curse skill stuff. So, sorry, yeah, not the effect, but curse skills have 10% increased cast speed, and that's just curses again. So, another little piece of Bane stuff. Up here, we've got another channeling wheel. So you've got channeled skills deal increased damage, have increased attack and cast speed, increased damage, more damage, and then on singular focus you have an additional physical damage reduction while casting, which goes good with the new infused channeling support, I guess, if you need it. I mean, it's not the best thing, but it's not bad, especially since you've got to stand still and do that. And there's the ascendancy, which also does that. Which one is it? I can't remember. Anyway, but there is an ascendancy that does that if you is it the base one or is it the map unlocked one? I'm not sure, but anyway, it does it regardless. Channeling skills have 6% increased attack and cast speed and do 15% increased damage. Not amazing, but if you're coming over here, you can probably get this 3 points. It's probably worth it. 14, 14, 15. Decent damage boosts. And then lastly, down here, we have this funky little wheel within a wheel. This changed. It did have the elemental damage and stuff before, but just some of the stuff's changed. I'll do the inner wheel first. Elemental damage is the same. This has an elemental damage and 1% elemental penetration. This has increased burning damage, elemental damage, and increased effect of non-damaging ailments. Elemental ailments, I believe, probably. Nope, non-damaging ailments. Okay. And then the Divine Judgment is a new node. It gives burning damage, elemental damage, damage penetration. This is a little strange because you can't really do damage penetration with your burning damage, so... Okay. And then increased effect of non-damaging ailments on enemies. Just okay. And then the outside wheel has this little node, which is elemental and physical. Actually, all these are. This is fire and physical, and this is lightning and physical. Again, these go with the new holy skills that were introduced. And then Divine Wrath gives you a 5% increased physical damage as extra lightning, and 12% increased elemental and physical, and they have 15% of their physical converted to lightning. These are pretty good for the new skills, especially the lightning one. Again, if you're doing fire, I would probably just do Avatar Fire, but the options there to do, like, you know, this, that, and then this, and convert 75% of it to fire, like if it's a 50% conversion. So, you know, but this is the exact same as this, just with fire. I think that's everything. I may have missed something. Hopefully I didn't, but you never know. I don't see anything that I missed, which probably means I've missed like 20 things. There may have been slight little other changes anywhere. But anyway, that's the majority of it, and that's kind of the thrust of what they did with this. Some really good changes, lots of energy shields, leech, crazy amounts, some cool channeling stuff, some good weapon stuff for spells that actually provide a lot of different choices and make it difficult to know where to go. And just generally... Oh, I did forget something. I already forgot it. Just generally upped the power of underpowered things. Yeah, this changed. These used to be 8% elemental damage and didn't have the resists on them. Now they do, and same with this. This used to be 18 or 16, I guess. Yeah, 16 increased elemental damage and no elemental resists. So you get some resists, which could be good for league starting when you're trying to fill out your resists. Plus some decent elemental damage. If you're going down past it, I think it's worth taking. It's also, they also upped the reduced reflected elemental damage taken by 10% from 10 to 20. Not a big deal. Reflect's not that huge an issue anymore, but there you go. Okay, now I think that's it. I probably missed something, but yeah, if I did, let me know in the comments. Feel free to come check out my Twitch stream. I'm Ghost Note Live on Twitch TV. Come say hi. Come say, you missed this and this and this and this and this and this and that video, and I'm displeased. If you want. But yeah, and I think I'll try and be back with a gem video as well, either later or tomorrow, but soon. So yeah, hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.